Hi.
Hi.
Long time no see.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you want to talk about this ridiculous episode, that'll help keep your mind off of things.
Yes. Okay.
This
I'm not
episode
going to
is so
include
ridiculous.
anything we talked about. We're not
Yeah,
going to
that's
talk
okay.
about hot tubs, and we're not going to talk about Kelly's dire financial situation.
Do you want to talk
But we
about
are
the
going to.
freaking chemicals again? Sorry, go on.
But we're
Just
going to
driving me
welcome
nuts.
everyone to this episode of Squintcast. My name is Kelly,
I am Brittany.
and today we are going to talk about the craziest episode I've ever seen in my life. It's Bones, season 3, episode 14, called
The Wannabe in the Weeds, which aired on May 12th, 2008.
Okay. Brittany, you need to tell
Yes.
me now two things.
Okay.
Who directed this and who wrote it?
Okay. So, Gordon Lonsdale directed this episode. It's
Who
the
the hell's
first
that?
episode. He directed a bunch of NCIS episodes. He's actually only directed 3 things. He's usually part of the electric and camera and electrical department, and he does some cinematography. Anyway, very
Oh my
random.
God.
But he did a couple episodes of NCIS and a TV series called The Magnificent Seven back in 1999. He goes on to direct 3 episodes. This is the first of the 3. I just clicked away from the page. There we go. This is the first of the 3. So The
Okay.
Wannabe in the Weeds, season 3. Then season 5, he does one more. And then season
Okay.
6, a third. Okay. So we've never come across him before. He's new. However, Josh Berman is the one
Okay.
who wrote this episode, and he is also the writer of Death in the Saddle, which was equally ridiculous episode.
Agreed.
So yeah, there's no surprise there. He writes 8 episodes total, 3 in season 4, 2 in season 5, and 1 in season 6. And funny enough, the one in season 6 that he writes is also directed by Gordon Lonsdale. So
Wow.
something to look forward to. Yeah. I love this episode. I think it is super cheesy and very funny.
I don't know. I have a lot. I don't
There
know
are some
how to
issues with it.
Well, at the beginning, yes, I agree. Booth is yeah, there's lots of things going on there. Anyway,
It's a little problematic in parts, but
Josh
that's fine.
Berman. That name sounds familiar. Anyway, the writing is great. The writing
It's so
was
funny.
great. The writing was good.
The writing was spot on. I loved it.
My mind is
was
going
good,
1,000, like, don't even, when we get to a certain character, I want to talk about her for like 8 years. 8 years, I want to talk about her.
We're going to be on here for a little while.
Without further ado, shall we begin?
Yes. Do you want to get started or do you want me to get started?
You start. Well, you always start.
Okay, fine.
By now you should know this, Brittany.
Okay. Well, we open to the Checker Box, a karaoke bar that is the center of this whole episode. Yeah. Lots of people singing that just want to make it. There is someone who looks like maybe he's an agent there. There is the manager there. And then there's some guy playing piano for all these people who think they're amazing singers. Some of them are very good. Okay. They give a little clip of like a bunch of songs. Some of them are quite impressive. The second lady who starts singing, she does a rendition of I'm a Slave for You, and I was in tears. It was so good. It was so
I was
funny.
like, this is very interesting to be watching this now. I don't know.
Oh,
I just
yeah.
thought it was funny.
It was so funny. So anyway, we got lots of different singers going. Then this one guy gets up and he goes and sings, and that guy is Ace Young. I'm using his real name. He was a season 5 finalist on American Idol.
Okay, this is where I wanted to ask you what you meant by that, because I was like, the first guy we see is this African American dude belting out a show tune.
Yeah.
And I was like, am I supposed to know who this is? And then the
No.
girl comes up and does her cover
Slave
of
for
Britney
You.
Spears and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so this, I don't remember if I remember this guy.
If you
Ace
go
Young.
back and look
Who
at
won
his
that year?
That's a
Ace
good
Young.
question, actually. I remember, I think he was the runner-up. Season 5 American Idol. Let's find out. I should have looked this up. Season
Ugh.
5.
This guy.
Who won?
God.
Top 12. Oh, Chris Daughtry.
Okay.
Oh, wait, no, Chris Daughtry. No, he didn't win.
He didn't win.
Taylor Hicks. This is the same
Oh
season
God,
that
yes.
Catherine McPhee was on this season too.
And Taylor Hicks had the white hair, the gray hair.
Yes.
Where is he now?
That's how do you know I'm looking that up right now? There's a couple winners. Oh, he's doing fine. He's released some. He just anyway, he's a platinum selling recording star, an actor, and TV host.
Ooh,
He looks like
Taylor Hicks.
He just looks like your average dude. Like,
oh yeah, I know. He looks like a suburban dad.
100%. So anyway, so there's a bunch of singers. Then Ace Young, we're soon to be. So we're gonna find this out in like 3 seconds. So he's our murder victim. He's up there singing, and then some guy. He has some beef with the guy who's about to sing next because he's all pissed off because he was gonna sing that song. And then now he has to sing Piano Man by Billy Joel, and like, oh, it's so bad.
This is
Anyway.
so funny. The whole Piano Man of it all made me laugh later on in the episode. But
yes.
It's just like they have this beef. They're obviously rivals, these two guys. This dude. Have we said his name yet?
We have not. There's Chris and
we don't
Tommy.
know his name yet. Chris and Tommy.
Well, his name is Tommy. So the Ace Young is Tommy, or our murder victim. The guy he's beefing with is Chris. And this guy looks like he's done too much Botox. Like his face is just so tight and his eyes are just so squinted, like upset.
I thought he looked like a poor man's Amell brother. You know, Stephen Amell and his brother, Rob, I think Robbie Amell. Stephen was in Arrow. And
yes,
Robbie did Upload. So this guy looks like
Upload
a
is
poor
so good.
man's he looks like a poor man's Amell brother.
No, you know who he looks like? He looks like Adam Devine, or Adam Devine, I think his name is.
You think so? No.
100%.
Really? Maybe
Oh
a
my
cross
God.
between one of the Amells and one of the Devines.
For sure. Okay. So they do this really cool transition where Tommy, he sits down and some good looking chick walks up and whispers something in his ear, and he's drinking some tea with honey, which is weird because he's at a bar. But anyway, so he he goes and he looks at his watch, and then the camera fades into a watch at a crime scene. And I thought that was pretty cool.
First of all, I just want to say,
yes,
you did mention the honey, and I'll spoil it now. It does come back, but the watch doesn't really come back.
No.
And the girl who does the Britney Spears impression that they spent quite a long time on, she was at least a 30 or 45-second clip on her. I thought for sure she was going to be the subject. Like when they brought her out, because she was so funny. This girl is so funny. But she never comes back.
She never comes back, but I think she's actually like a pretty famous actress now.
I
her
bet
name is
she
Jessa
is.
French,
Okay.
and she's been in
Here
maybe
she
not.
is.
The last thing she was in was 2014, and it was Christian Mingle. She was in
No,
King
she
of
was in
Queens.
You're the Worst, Justified. All
That's
kinds of
interesting
stuff.
that she hasn't.
Enlightened. Oh my God, that was such a.
It's
Well,
interesting she hasn't done anything since 2014. Oh, she does ads now.
It's not the
No
Enlightened, I
way.
thought. Never mind. What?
The ambitious Miss French began her forays into cracking the human psyche as a private detective, co-founding the Red Hand Detective Agency. So she isn't in acting anymore. She's a
Oh,
PI.
really?
Okay. Mark told me I gotta quiet my voice down. Apparently he's moving around. Okay. Not Mark.
Oh,
Wayne is. So I will
now we have to
quiet a
whisper.
voice. So anyway, she was very funny. I really liked her character. I thought she was gonna come back just like you did, but unfortunately we don't see her
I
again.
was sad that she didn't actually. Okay,
Okay.
where are we? Yes, so
We're
we
about to
transition
Yes.
from our friend Tommy looking at his watch. I'm assuming because that woman said, "Meet me out back in 5 minutes," kind of thing, right? And he was gonna go
Definitely.
bang her in the alley. What the hell? Anyway, so he looks at his watch,
High
and then we
standards.
transition to the watch in a field in the middle of the night, and it's covered in gloop and goo and grossness. And we have our victim. We have Brennan, Booth, and Cam are on the scene. And Brennan says that the victim's bones are all broken and that it's a male in their late 20s, early 30s. Cam believes that they've been dead for around 2 weeks. And Booth is in the background of this scene. They're in the middle of a field with really, really tall grass, and Booth is sneezing like crazy. And he's sneezing, 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 and he's suffering from allergies. And I
Which we've
thought,
never
same Booth, same. Me too.
But have we ever experienced him having these
Never,
allergies before?
not
We've
once. And I
definitely
know we've
seen him.
been in fields. We've been
Yes,
in
for
fields,
sure.
okay? And
Like
Brennan,
when that
it's
little
so
boy was
funny.
kidnapped.
Yes,
No,
when the
go
boy
on.
was kidnapped.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I need to give you more space to talk. I
No.
apologize.
No, you go. No, I talk too much. Carry on. What is Brennan
So
doing?
Brennan then she gets annoyed with Booth sneezing and she thinks it's ridiculous that he was a sniper and he has allergies. And she's like, how the hell are you supposed to kill anybody if you're sneezing like crazy? Like you give away your position. And then he complains like, no, I was in the desert. Okay. There's no trees or anything in the desert. This is grass. Anyway, regardless, I thought it was funny as she called him out on being a sniper. So the guy who found the body was operating some kind of mulching machine. I called it, I kept calling it, what did I keep calling it? I'm sorry.
I just
I've
thought it
lost
was a grass
my,
cutting machine. You're right, though. It's some mulching machine, which would make sense because he hasn't been there in at least 2
bushwhacking.
weeks. Bushwhacker.
Bushwhacking. Yeah. It looks like a bushwhacker. So the guy who found the body found it while he was bushwhacking in this field and Booth is giving him a hard time for not stopping sooner before he ran over the body with the bushwhack.
Oops.
And he's like, oh, the grass is really tall, it's dark, blah, blah, blah. And then Booth's like, oh, well, why are you going so fast? He's like, well, because I have a date. He's like meeting this girl that he met on the internet. Anyway, this character cracks me up. He's like, I was supposed to meet this girl and now it's going to slow me down. Anyway, there's no head attached. Sorry?
Were they just, isn't he just meeting her at like a fast food restaurant?
I don't know. He's going to go have, I forget what he said.
I think he said falafel or something.
Falafel. Yeah, I think he said falafel or something like that. But anyway, there's no head attached to the body. There's no head attached to the body. So Brennan goes looking for it. And lo and behold, there it is in the bushwhacker.
All in one piece.
And Brennan, yeah, it's like totally stuck like to the tines. And Booth goes, wow, this guy really had it hard. Like he got killed. and then he got dumped in the swamp, and now he's been bushwhacked and is decapitated. What else could go wrong? And then the next we see is that his eyeball falls out and it's covered in ants. Anyway, I thought it was really funny.
It was funny, and it wasn't as gruesome. Like, I didn't find it creepy crawly like I would
No, it was
normally.
like a cartoon.
It was
Exactly.
funny. Yeah. And then we have our credits. Dun 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 dun
Dun,
dun
dun,
dun.
dun,
dun.
dun, dun, dun.
Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba. Oh my God. Yeah, so this episode, it starts out pretty serious-ish, but I don't know, maybe the things
I
that
don't
I
think
find
it's
funny were
serious
meant
at
to be
all. What do you
funny.
mean? Oh my God.
Okay, fair. There is an eyeball that pops out of a skull with some ants, so maybe it's not
Yeah,
that.
and like Brennan's yelling at Booth for having allergies, and the skull is like comically attached to this
True.
bushwhacking. Anyway, never mind the whole bar scene we had before that.
True. With all the cut eye and the I'm a slave for you. Okay, sorry. I just died laughing at that. And I saw this episode a
Yeah.
few times.
I thought it was really funny. I don't know why though. Maybe it was something like Britney Spears was like in the news, or there's something that I just read about something, and then I watched this episode and she's like, "I'm a slave for you," and I just thought it was really funny.
Perfect timing. Okay,
Britney Spears.
we're back to the lab.
Back at the lab.
Although we're in Cam's office this time with Zach, Cam, and Angela. They're talking about this dude. Cam is saying that this guy was probably an athlete, and he was probably pretty hot, and he was super muscly, and how he had a cold. And because they found traces, we already kind of hit on this, but they found traces of tea and honey and some throat lozenges in his stomach contents. So the watch comes up, it has a heart rate, blah blah blah. It doesn't really matter. It's more just for them
You're
to
so
help build
funny.
their
Cam, no, can we just back up? Because Cam's talking about,
Cam.
oh, this guy was
The
probably
jock.
really hot. He was really
It's
hot.
sexy. It's
And
very
then
Angela.
But Angela's the one who's like, yeah, not anymore.
Exactly. I was surprised that Angela wasn't jumping all over this. Like, oh yeah,
Wow.
let me go draw a picture of him.
Really, eh?
I'll make him do the blue steel look.
Literally, this whole episode, why is Angela here?
Yeah, she did not need to be here at all.
No.
Zach talks about this is definitely a bit of a filler. It's just to mention the fact that there was honey, because and so we find out the victim's name is Tommy Sauer. He was reported missing 2 weeks ago. But as part of this whole scene, Zach talks about how he's a gym rat too.
Yeah.
He uses different words, but anyway, every day he goes on the treadmill for 30 minutes, then he does 100 sit-ups, 100 push-ups, and 100 leg lifts, and then 20 minutes of free weights, and he's deceptively strong. And Kim is like, I'm deceived. I'm deceived.
I love how Zach like goes over his whole home gym routine.
Oh
like,
my God.
No one asked you, Zach. No one asked you.
There's
So,
a lot of
we
things
find
that no
out-
one asks. Sorry.
I know. No, don't be sorry. I know. Well, later.
We'll get there.
Angela's job is rendered irrelevant because they basically checked out this guy's teeth. And she called him the orthodontist or something like that. I had to listen a couple of times.
Odontology.
Odontology. That's it. So there was sorry, not odontologist.
Well,
so they
same.
They identify this guy as Tommy Sauer. I was like, this name is, what the hell's with his name?
His name is fake.
It's crazy. He was reported missing by his neighbor 2 weeks ago. And then next we have Booth and Brennan visiting his neighbor.
Which we also need to talk about that later. Anyway, but carry on.
Yeah. We'll talk about it. Don't worry.
Okay. So now we got to go see the neighbor, obviously.
Yes. Let's go see the neighbor.
This guy. This is like my pet peeve. Alarms that won't stop going off. So he is absolutely beside himself. He's in his apartment. They're talking to him. He's prepping for he's some clay sculpturist, He's prepping for an important show that's coming up, and he's losing his mind because this alarm, ever since Tommy died, his alarm has been going off nonstop. Like
Ever since Tommy disappeared,
disappeared.
he can hear Tommy's
It's been 2
alarm through the
weeks.
wall, and it's driving him crazy.
It's driving him nuts, and he asks for them to turn it off on their way out, and they're like, no. And even when the cops first came, he was like, can you just unplug it, please? And they shut him down too. This doesn't
Why won't
seem
they
like
turn
something
it
they would
off,
do.
though?
I don't
It's
know.
weird.
It's very weird. But he breaks down when he tells stories of certain events that happen. He calls it his pre-alarm period and his post-alarm period.
I know, because Brennan's admiring some of his work. He's like, that's my pre-alarm clock period. I just thought that was so funny. The writing is so good.
It is very good. And so he kind of sticks them onto someone else, another possible suspect that everyone calls Fat Pam. This girl who we find out that Tommy was a trainer at some gym, and Pam was one of his clients who became a little stalker-y to him.
Well, she
It
was
becomes very
very
obvious.
fond. She was very fond of
Yes.
him, yes.
Very fond of him. One of the things he said was that she started banging on his door in the middle of the night wearing a teddy and heels, and he did not let her in. And he says, if they had sex, it was through a locked door. So no, I don't think that they did anything.
Well, here's the thing. I'm going to just back up here a little bit because not everybody calls her Fat Pam. Tommy calls her Fat Pam. Second, she was very fond of Tommy. Yeah, showed up one night in lingerie, all that stuff. My issue with this scene, this is where Booth got on my nerves, is where Booth, as an FBI agent, asks if Pam and Tommy ever, and then he slams his hands together. I was like, get it together, Booth. Get it together. Because Brennan rolls her eyes. She's rolling her eyes at him like, okay, did they ever have sex? Like, she's basically like, Booth can't even, like, what was it? The last episode or 2 episodes ago, he didn't want to say breasts. And now he can't ask if they ever
had. He can't say sex.
It's unbelievable.
It's even unbelievable. It is way better to ask someone if they've had sex than to
do this.
Smash your hands together.
Smash your hands together. Like smoosh. Like he's like smashing them together.
And then he starts clapping for her because this guy, Matthew, the neighbor, is like, says, like I was saying, oh, and yeah, no, they didn't have sex unless it was through a locked door. I don't think so. And she's like, oh, okay, so they didn't have sex. And Booth is like, well, good deduction. Way to go. starts clapping for her. She's like, why are you clapping? What's going on right now? Brutal. Stop clapping. Anyway, this guy is just about to live in hell because no one will turn the alarm off
for him.
If I were him, I would have broken down that door by now. And I would
call the landlord.
Yes,
hey,
or that.
Tommy's been gone for 2 weeks. His alarm keeps going off. Can you please go in and turn it off for me, please? Thank you. Or I'm not going to pay rent.
That's a good solution. Yeah. You're so smart.
Anyway, back at the lab.
I would bust in there. Yeah, back at the lab. Okay. So
back at the lab.
So Zach and Cam are there. And they're Zach and Cam. I think have I gotten ahead of myself? Go on.
No, you're fine. I just want to be sure to say something here because Zach and Cam are examining the bones. And I'm like, why is Cam there examining the bones? Can't she take the rest of the day off? Like they've been boiled. Her work is done.
Yeah.
Bye, Cam.
It is weird. This whole season, all of season 3, Zach and Cam, and I've mentioned it in other episodes we've done in this season, they have had a disproportionate number of scenes, just the 2 of them.
Yeah.
It's like they have lost, Hodgins and Zach have lost their like super close friendship since he went off to war and decided to not be at his wedding. They're not,
Mhm.
they don't have that same silly, like back and forth fun rapport anymore. So I feel like they've stuck Zach with Cam instead, which is different.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, that's fine. So they think that they have to look, they're trying to figure out what the murder weapon is. They can't really figure it out. The whole point of this scene is to say that some bone seems to have been shaved off in the front. So it doesn't look like there was any knife that did this damage. He wasn't killed with a knife.
Mhm.
And it's not a cheese slicer because that would be ridiculous. So it's something like that.
It's part of his neck vertebrae. So it's part of the
Yes.
C5. It's been the small part of the bone has been shaved. So that's weird. They're very weird.
Very odd.
So what do
We're
we
at
have
the gym.
next? Booth. Yes, Booth and Brennan have gone to the gym where Tommy worked as a personal trainer. Booth is telling Brennan, they're apparently, I guess before they walked in there, we were arguing about the merits of training. Anyway, Booth is arguing that people are just trying to get healthy. Brennan says that everybody's being vain. Anyway, whatever.
Pot calling
Regardless,
the kettle black.
regardless. While this argument's happening, Booth is distracted by a woman who's working out and he's ogling her. He's staring at her, and it's very unbecoming, Booth. Very unbecoming.
Has he never been to a gym?
Listen, a cool guy like that, I'm going to tell you right now, I've been to the gym for years. I go to gyms. I'm a gym girl.
You are.
I go to a boxing gym. Cool guys don't do this. I'm just going to say this. They go out of their way to pretend that they don't notice a hot girl working out. Truly,
They just
truly.
look away.
They pretend that they're above it, but they're looking, but they don't do this.
My sister's had some creepy guys approach her
Oh,
at the gym.
honey, listen.
Yeah.
I remember one guy when I was a teenager and I used to bodybuild. I used to lift weights at this gym. And it wasn't a Gold's Gym. It was like East Coast Gym. Maybe it was like a Gold's Gym franchise. Anyway, I love that gym. Anyway, these guys would come up to me. I would laugh in their faces, Brittany, because one guy had the nerve. He's coming up to me. And he was wearing bike shorts without underwear, and he was gross and nerdy. And his dick was flopping around, and he goes, "Hey, you come here often?" And I looked at him, I started laughing. I was like, "Yeah, every day." And I walked away from him, like, "Fuck off, buddy." I used to have people hit on me, Brittany, when I was young.
It still happens, I'm sure.
No, nobody looks at me anymore.
Everyone looks at you. They're just too shy to approach you.
Oh yeah, they're cool guys. They're cool guys.
That's the descriptor you just gave of this guy with his shorts reminds me of
it was so gross. As I looked at it, I was like, man, put some fucking underwear on. Like, Christ.
Mark and I watched the movie. Oh my God, I thought it would come to me. Juno. Have you seen that movie with
Years
Elliot
ago.
Page?
Years ago.
So we watched. So, oh my God, I can't believe they even put this in this movie. Because Michael Cera is supposed to be part of this like track and field group or cross country group.
Right.
So they have him and these guys running by, and
Yeah.
Juno, the main character, is describing how they run by, and it's like, and their dicks flopping around in their gym shorts, and then they zoom in on it, and all these dicks are just
so funny.
just like flopping around. I was like,
I
oh
don't
my
remember
God.
that part. That's funny.
Oh my God,
but
I was
it's
dying.
true. It's true. I don't know how guys do it. It looks painful.
It would be uncomfortable. I would equate it to not wearing a bra.
Without a bra, and everything's just flop, 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 flop. It would be so uncomfortable.
I agree.
Anyway,
on that
where were
note,
we?
we're talking about Booth being a creep.
We're at the gym, right?
We're at the gym. We meet the owner of the gym, this guy,
Yes.
Dr. Jason, who is also a chiropractor, interestingly enough. He's the wellness center's manager. Anyway, so he's trying to help them. They just talk a little bit more about Pam. He is not a fan of of Tommy of the victim.
Right.
I'm kind of we're starting to get the impression that maybe not a lot of people were a fan of him.
Mhm.
And anyway, so they're gonna get Miss Noonan's address. That's the name of Pam. They're gonna get her address and they're gonna meet up with her. But in the meantime, Booth is just being a creep.
Yeah, well, Dr. Jason, walks away
Yes.
from them to go get Pam Noonan's address, fat Pam Noonan's address.
Poor girl.
And when he walks away, starts staring at that woman again. And
Oh
Brennan's
my
like, stop
God.
looking at, stop doing that. It's gross. Anyway, back at the FBI. We need a back at the FBI because we're at the FBI a
Back
lot
at the
today.
FBI.
Ah, that's nice. Nice jinglies, jingle.
Hopefully Charlie's there. Sorry, go on.
Back at the FBI, Brittany, we meet, I am going to say, one of, I'd say, top 2 characters.
Oh
Trying
yeah.
to think. I'm thinking about all the characters. Because, what's his face? Olivier Laurier, that guy
Yeah.
who was the stalked Brennan. He was
Yeah.
the guy who was on the
Yeah, and he
website.
faints at the
And
sight of
yeah,
blood. Yeah. Oliver.
Oliver, not Olivier, Oliver Laurier. He's up there. I love that guy. I think he's so great. Here's the thing. This woman, Pam, we're going to get to know Pam throughout this episode, and she is quite a piece of work. But the actress playing Pam is amazing. She's amazing.
She plays this character way too well.
I can't. This woman is amazing. She's amazing. Anyway.
Also, I looked her up and she is like ripped now. She's
great.
She was still stunning in this too, but like she's like drop dead gorgeous. Like anyway, she's a seasoned actress. She was also in Criminal Minds. Every time I see her in something, I really appreciate her acting. I think she's phenomenal. So her character is nutso, but we will appreciate her character as she goes along.
She's just obsessed. Amazing. She's amazing.
She's amazing, but she's a psychopath. Yeah. So she brings in this photo album of Tommy.
Brittany, I have to talk about this because she's sitting in Booth's office. She's sitting in Booth's office next to Brennan, and she has brought in a photo album that has all pictures of Tommy. Every single picture in this album is of Tommy, and they are taken from far away.
They're like surveillance photos.
And as she's showing these pictures, like, he was so kind. He's so sweet. I love him so much, my Tommy. He's wonderful. Isn't he just so sensitive and wonderful? And this is where Booth finally takes a turn in the episode, and he gains my admiration and respect again, because he takes the album from her. He goes, so, Pam, these pictures, they're interesting. They seem to be taken from quite a distance. She says that Tommy is shy. Anyway, this woman,
one of the things she loves about him.
She loves it about him that he's so shy and sensitive.
She has to take a photo from a mile away.
She takes it very personally, like thinking, like, are you sure Tommy was attracted to you, kind of questions. And she's like, why? Because I'm not a scarecrow like her. And she points to Brennan. And Brennan, in fine form, takes this personally. Brennan doesn't understand that she's dealing with a psycho woman next to her. Brennan doesn't get that this woman is crazy.
Oh, yeah.
And takes things like,
stand up for herself.
Seriously. She's like, what do you mean? I'm not a scarecrow. I'm not skinny. What are you talking about? Like, anyway. So then, get over it, Brennan, is what I said. Pam tells them that she and Tommy were going to get married.
Oh, my God.
And Booth's like, okay. That's when he breaks it to her, that Tommy's dead.
Yes.
I was like, wow. This character is iconic.
This character is a nut job.
She's a legend.
We very quickly transition, as Kelly has very, very awesomely pointed out in the past. We transition from nice Booth's office meeting, not a suspect, to the interrogation room with Pam. And Pam has been waiting, sitting in this interrogation room for over an hour, we find out. I guess they wanted to check out some details. She is sitting there with some trail mix and she's sorting her trail mix into each piece, like by piece. So like all the nuts are together. All of like it's psycho behavior. Although I do that sometimes, but still, it's psycho behavior.
It's okay. You're a psycho. You can admit it.
That's fine. I'm an accountant for a profession, so you have to be a little nutty.
Yes.
Well, the best part about this scene, though, is that what I really like about this is we don't just have Booth and Brennan anymore, because Booth must have, in my mind, behind the scenes of what's going on, Booth clues in that there's something wrong with this woman. So he wants Sweets to take a look at who this person is, to sit in on the interrogation without her knowing that he's there. So Brennan and Sweets are sitting behind the glass watching Booth interrogate Pam. Oh boy. Do you want to take over?
Sure. So basically, yeah, Sweets is doing a psych eval from behind the glass. Sweets, anyway, I just think it's funny because they have this interaction. This is a thing between Sweets and Brennan because she doesn't believe in psychology, which is a whole other load of crazy. You know what I mean?
Oh,
so Sweets is telling Brennan what's going on with Pam and how she seems like a certain way. He says like she's manipulative. She's obviously, not stable. And he's just telling her little details. And Brennan says, "Oh, that's interesting." And then Sweets says, "You're lying. You don't think it's interesting at all." And she agrees with him. She's like, "Oh, you're right. I don't agree with you. Or I don't think it's interesting." And then again, Sweet starts his evaluating of Brennan. He's always evaluating Brennan, and she hates it when he does that. And then she says, "Focus on Pam. Focus on Pam." And then Sweets tells Brennan that Pam's nervous. That's why she's sorting out her candy on the table. And Brennan goes, "Oh, what if she's just bored? She's been here for over an hour. She has nothing else to do." Anyway, I just thought that was funny too. Like she's just everything he says, she argues with him.
Oh, yeah.
And then Booth enters the interrogation room to talk to Pam, and immediately Pam professes her love for Tommy and her innocence. And Booth is being very careful with this woman. Like, I like the way he talks to her. And Sweets is really impressed with the questions that Booth is asking her. He's like, "Oh, that's a great question." He's just agreeing with everything Booth is doing. And we go between Booth and Pam and Brennan and Sweets. Sweets is sort of commenting on things, and I just
explaining her behavior, kind of. It's really
Sweets
interesting.
is explaining that Pam is crazy, basically. He's trying to tell her that she's passive aggressive and she's manipulative. And then Brennan just wants him to tell her if she killed Tommy. She's like, "I don't care about any of this stuff. Just tell me if he killed her." And Sweets can't answer that. He's like, "I don't know. I don't know that." So anyway, Booth gets some information from Pam and to confirm her alibi, because she says she was away while Tommy was being killed. Then Booth gets up to leave her in the interrogation room, and he's walking away to call and check her alibi. And she says, sort of under her breath, "Who's going to love me now?" And Booth actually has this moment of weakness where he feels bad for her. And he says, "I'm sorry." He consoles her and he touches her on the shoulder. And when he does that, Sweets reacts, and Sweets goes, "Oh, no, 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 don't touch her. Don't touch her." Right. And Brennan's like, "Why? What's the big deal?" So Pam.
And you see Pam like smiling, like, "Oh, a new person to love. Yes, he loves me."
But no, you don't know that right away. But there is that really weird kind of transition. Where she's like,
she does this like smile.
"Thank you, Agent Booth."
Thanks.
Thank you. Anyway,
Just to add to how off her rocker this woman was, the reason she was away for the last month is she was visiting her parents to plan hers and Tommy's wedding.
she's nuts. She's delusional.
Like,
Delulu. She's
totally
crazy.
delusional.
But my favorite part is when after this, Booth is in his office on the phone with Pam's parents, apparently. And Brennan and Sweets are walking into Booth's office and they're talking yap at each other. And he tells them to keep it down because he's on the phone. That's what I'm talking about, the director. Okay. The fact that like he does this thing where they walk into his office and they're talking really loudly and he's like, I'm on the phone, like keep it down, just quiet. And I just thought that's just a little detail. I thought that was really, really funny. Anyway.
It was perfect. I thought it was appropriate too, because they're being like, yeah, she's dangerous. She's a psycho. And he's on the phone with her parents. So it's like, yeah, maybe we don't say that stuff when her parents are listening.
Anyway, it's just one of those things where Sweets keeps saying that she's dangerous.
Yes.
Then Booth and Brennan kind of make fun of him and go, yeah, she's so dangerous. Ooh, I'm so scared. And they kick him out of Booth's office or like shooing him away. He's like, they asked this guy to come and help them. He goes to help them. And then they're like, shoo, fly, shoo. We don't need you anymore. They're so mean to him.
I want to try.
I hope they stop this.
What I texted you before.
Yes.
This is one of the scenes.
Yes.
That I thought it made it obvious what is to come.
Oh, well, I didn't know that was going to happen. But yes, I understand what you're saying for sure. There's a few
little spots that I was like, oh, okay. They're kind of like dropping hints.
Well, this is the way I see what you mean. So by him saying this and this happening,
and like
they're going to start
of it.
They're going to start believing Sweets more.
Yes. Oh, true. When Sweets is on his way out the door, like you were saying, they're shooing him away. He's like, don't forget, we have our session at 4 on Tuesday. See you there. Let's do trust exercises. I love Sweets. He's great.
He is a wonderful addition. I'll admit it's very good.
I like that they're using him more like in cases and not just for their therapy now. Like they're bringing her in and seeing his opinion about her is pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're in Cam's office with Brennan. Back at the lab. So it turns out, very fortunately for us, not so fortunately for Tommy, that he actually has E. coli in his blood. And they were actually able to track it down to the Checker Box restaurant where he was doing the karaoke. And it's the result of him having tainted raw honey. So that's why we were obsessively bringing up the honey at the beginning of this episode.
Yes.
We also find out that he was stoned when he died. He was on some THC.
Whatever.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. It kind of comes up later, but not really. So it's fine. But we got to go back to the Checker Box restaurant now. What a wonderful place to be. Do you want to talk about the Checker Box restaurant, Kelly?
Sure. We arrive back at the Checker Box. We're being treated to the same show tune, I believe, that we heard at the beginning of the episode, sung by our African-American friend. Again, do we know this guy? He's a Broadway guy. I don't know.
No idea.
Booth is at the bar waiting for her. And when she walks in, when Brennan arrives, she walks in and Booth's like, oh my God, thank God you're here. I was going to start shooting people if you were going to leave me alone much longer, because he can't stand all the show tunes. It's driving him crazy. And then Brennan says that she's really impressed. This is so funny how impressed Brennan is with all these people at the open mic night at Checker Box. It's so funny. they're talking, Booth and Brennan, chat, chat, chat. And these people in front of them turn around and I recognize them from earlier in the episode. They're in the front row. One of them, the guy has a guitar. This woman was the one who whispered to Tommy before he went, before he looked at his watch at the beginning of the show. Anyway, they turn around and shush, 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 psh, psh, stop talking, right? And then finally, this big guy with the guitar turns around and he goes, "Would you shut the hell up? You want me to get the manager?" And Booth's like, "Yeah, actually, I would like you to get the manager." And he shows him his FBI ID, like, point me out, point the manager out to me, bud. And he's like, "Okay, he's over there." And then we're introduced to our manager, who is played by what?
Felix.
He is a Star Trek guy all the way.
I love him.
I researched to see if he was in Buffy or Angel, and he wasn't actually, even though he was in everything else. He's been around forever. Ethan Phillips is the actor's name. We love him. We love him.
We love him so much. And sorry, what I was looking up while
Don't
we were
be
chatting,
sorry. Yeah.
our African American friend who
Thank
is
you.
singing "Corner of the Sky" again.
Oh, what's this song from?
He came in 12th place. It's from Pippin. So,
okay. Thank
from
you.
the musical Pippin. He came in 12th place on the 6th season of American Idol.
Wow.
He is
So
also
who
an
else
American
was
Idol
in
finalist.
American Idol? Was there anybody else in American Idol on here? I wonder.
I don't think so, but maybe.
Because there were other people.
I wish I had looked more into it.
Brandon Rogers. Okay.
He was
Indie Striker.
Post Idol. Yeah, he was on Bones. He's been in a couple different shows. He was a headliner for America's Favorite Finalists.
EJ Curse. Who the fuck is that?
I think that's it. I think it's just the two of them. But they're both from American Idol.
Okay.
So I thought that was kind of interesting. Sorry, I got us sidetracked, but yeah.
That's okay.
In this scene though, they talk about they say, "Oh, everyone thinks that," when they're talking to the manager, and they tell him that Tommy was murdered.
Yeah.
And they're talking about, "Oh yeah, open mic night, everyone's talented. I figured he just got a paying gig. That's why he disappeared. I didn't think anything of it." And he's like, "Oh yeah, you know what? Everyone always thinks they're going to be the next Kelly Clarkson." And Brendan's like, "Who's Kelly Clarkson?"
Yeah.
This is where we American Idol because of you, because of me. Why? What did I do?
Like, this is where we learn Brennan doesn't know American Idol. Fun.
Oh my God.
This is fun. Fun.
Kelly Clarkson is mega famous, even if you didn't watch American Idol. Anyway, it's a good.
Is she famous though?
Oh yeah, she's really famous. She has her own talk show and everything now.
In England, in Japan, is she famous over there?
Oh, I don't know. She's definitely famous
in here.
States.
Yeah.
She's definitely famous in like North America.
Of course she's famous here.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then we find out about if anybody didn't like Tommy, and then we're told about Chris Calabasas, his rival, who's singing the song that happens to be a Nickelback song, which is a riot to me. What a riot. What a riot. I wonder are you a Nickelback girl?
I don't mind them. I don't know why people hate on them so much.
I really hate them. I can't.
You're not going to belt out "Far Away" by Nickelback anytime soon?
No way. God, no. God, no. Is that, do they sing, "This is how you remind me of who I really am"? They sing that.
Kelly's a huge fan, obviously.
And me.
For all of our listeners, Kelly is really into Nickelback and Hodgins.
Hodgins and Nickelback. Add it to the list, right?
Her two favorites.
I'm such a contrarian. They're not my kind of band. Like it's those
That's
guys,
fair.
just Nickelback. What's the name of that band? They sing that one. Your sex is on fire. What's that called? They're
Maroon 5? No.
no. Come on, everybody's screaming at the phone at their phones right now. Sex
Like,
on
seriously?
fire. Sex is on fire. Kings of Leon.
Yes, there we go.
Similar vibe, but
Yeah.
like cooler, But I don't like.
More
I
mainstream.
don't like
Or like
them.
allowed.
I don't
No?
like them. There's
That's okay,
something
that's
about
allowed.
that style of voice, like I don't know.
You don't like when singers sound like 80s punk bands?
They no. Okay, you don't know an 80s punk band if it hit you across the face, Brittany.
I only know.
That's not an 80s punk band.
Have you seen, or 90s, have you seen Ted?
What?
The movie Ted?
No.
There's a scene I'm gonna find it for you.
Okay.
You're gonna find it hilarious. Anyway,
Okay.
there's a scene in that where he starts like making fun of, it's not punk, it's 90s like pop bands.
Okay.
Anyway, I'll just find it and send it to you.
You find it, I'll talk. What do we got? So we are talking to Chris now after his performance. And he complains that Tommy stole his song the night that there was a talent scout there. Chris and he exchanged some words and went into the back alley, and then Tommy was just never seen again. So he was pissed at Tommy. He didn't like him because he would fill his bar with his gym rat friends, and they had no respect for the other performers. And Chris is insulted by Brennan because she basically makes a swipe at him for wanting to be a star and how it's very like self-centered and like you just want to be the center of attention. And he kind of gives her a look like, where did you get this one, And then he says that Tommy has a video of his set on MySpace, which is the first I've heard. How many times have they mentioned MySpace on this show? And then during this conversation, Brennan looks at the guy who's performing on stage, and he's like this Frank Sinatra guy who's sort of like he's singing like Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra, like Shooby-Doo kind of guy. And she goes, "Oh wow, I really like this guy. He's really good." And then Ruth calls her Paula. You're muted.
Like Paula Abdul.
I know, but it took me a second watch to figure out who he meant. I was like, Paula who? Oh, Paula Abdul. You sent me the scene?
I did. I only want to be with you.
Oh my God. That's Counting Crows, isn't it?
I don't know.
Hootie and the Blowfish. It's Hootie and the Blowfish. I only want to be with you. Yeah.
And they don't really pronounce the words. It's just kind of like. Anyway,
Okay.
It's very funny. Something for
That's
later.
Hootie. Hootie and the Blowfish is classic. You know what? You can shit all you want about it's like that and the Spin Doctors. You can shit all over them, but their songs were pretty catchy.
Well, and they are inspiration for a lot of music that came out after them.
Honey, everything's derivative at this point. So
it's true.
That was a funny moment. Then what happens?
We are now with Mitch.
Well, Chris says, he was pretty open about his relationship with Tommy and their rivalry. And he says he didn't go with Tommy anywhere. He came back into the bar because he wanted to introduce himself to the talent scout, who he points out is in the corner, this guy in the corner. So
he's going to go meet the talent scout, Mitch.
Booth is going to go do that,
Yes. So Booth walks over and he's...
Oh my God.
We find out that him and his roommate had a band in college and they were pretty good.
Well, is that true? I don't know.
Knows? But the talent scouts would always sit up front. So he was accusing this guy of being a phony because he's like, why are you sitting all the way back here? Something's kind of off. And then he distracts him, grabs his notebook, and it turns out this guy's just sitting there doodling, sitting there in a suit. And so he's going to step outside with the manager and they're going to have a little bit of a talk because
Not
He is
before
not
I
who,
paused on the notebook to see what the sketches were because I wanted to know what he was doodling.
just a bunch
And
of penises.
I could only see the second page. I couldn't because Ruth flipped up the first page really quickly. But on the second page, it's so funny. They're like all these big googly eyed alien things. And then he has this one in the corner. It says Philly sucks.
I did not see that. Oh my God. Yes.
I paused on it because I thought it was so funny.
I wonder who did that. I wonder if each of the, I
Somebody
wonder if this
did.
guy,
Some
oh yeah.
set person probably drew it, you know?
Well, that's hilarious. Okay. So Booth has this guy, Mitch, and the owner out back, and he's saying, okay, what the hell is going on? Why are you impersonating a talent scout? Then realizes that the manager is in on it. And the whole idea was if he got this talent scout, someone pretending to be a talent scout to sit there and start this rumor that every Monday, if you come, there's going to be a talent scout sitting there and you could become famous, then it would draw in more business. So that was the whole purpose of it. So yeah. So now Booth is like, well, you're now both under investigation for murder, so don't go anywhere. But in the meantime, Pam is sitting in her car in her BMW. Like, what does this bitch do for work? Anyway, so she's in her BMW holding up a camera, taking a picture for her new photo album of Booth.
Yes.
It is
In
so
the
creepy.
shadows, taking creepy pictures. And there's creepy, scary music playing in the background as she takes these pictures on her digital camera. And I just commend
So
this
creepy.
actress. This actress is amazing.
She's giving me the heebie-jeebies, so she must know what she's doing.
Yes.
Oh my God. Okay.
Back
I'm
at the
being made
lab.
a liar. Back at the lab. I'm being
Are
made a
you
liar.
a liar?
Here's a Zach and Hodgins scene,
Oh.
just the two of them.
Yeah, but it's cantankerous and,
Yes.
you know, it's not a
Well,
good relationship.
yeah, they don't have the same relationship that they used to. Like season 1, season 2, they had such a sweet, funny vibe going on, joking about King of the Lab, etc. And now, yeah, they're just talking, and Zach took a bunch of it turns
Brittany,
out
focus.
they're okay.
Hodgins interrupts
Yes.
Zach. He interrupts
Yes, he
Zach
does.
and says, "Hey, you done with these bones yet? I really need these freaking bones. And
Every
can I have the
episode.
bones?" And Zach's like, "I need the bones." And then anyway, it's the same argument all the time. I want the bones. You can't have them. Blah. And then Zach, out of nowhere, for no reason at all, says, "You know, I used to be a singer too when I was younger. My parents put me in singing because they thought it would help me with my social skills." And then Hodgins responds to this by going, "Really?
Yeah, it was quite good.
Really? They thought it would help your social skills," kind of response. I just thought, well, it didn't fucking work. Anyway.
Did not work.
Zach is boasting about his singing skills, boasting. And then Hodgins kind of interrupts the boasting. And then Zach interrupts Hodgins by starting to sing. He starts belting out this tune. I can't remember the song right now.
Love is a Many Splendored Thing by Frank Sinatra.
Love is a many splendor thing. Anyway, he starts singing in this really deep kind of, would you call that a bass? Well, not baritone. It's like bass, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or tenor. More of a tenor?
Probably.
Yeah, sort of this tenor tone. He's very loud. And then it starts
He's very
drawing
talented.
crowd. People start coming around because they hear him singing, and they're all standing there watching him just belt out this tune. And he ends with this very strong, very controlled note, and everybody starts clapping. Yay! And then Hodgins is just like, he's very operatic. I'll give him that.
Oh yeah. And then everyone's just staring. So he's like, "Is there something you guys need?" They're like, no."
And then Hodgins just steals a bunch of bones and leaves. He's like, I need this, this, and this. I can get particulates off this to help you find a friggin' weapon, so leave me alone. And then when Zach asks if they want anything, because Angela and Cam are kind of dumbfounded, they're completely flummoxed, standing there like they can't believe what they just heard. And Zach's like, "I have to get back to work now." But the way that Zach looks in this scene, I'll bring it up. He looks crazy in this scene.
Oh yeah.
There's something not right with this guy's head.
I think the last few episodes have been kind of like this. I think we've sort of touched on it, and it seems like his confidence is building though at the same time. Like
It's
he
weird,
used to
but
be
it's disjointed, right? Because it's like
totally
confident, but very inept socially, like
yes.
not very good.
Yeah, this version of Zach is not the version that we came to love in season 1 and 2. So the army did a number on him. It would appear.
It would appear.
It would appear. So we're at the Royal Diner because apparently they really like the shitty coffee there. And so Booth and Brennan are chatting, and it turns anyway, Brennan is kind of boasting a little bit about her accolades, how she is this award-winning scientist, and she also has these books that are on the bestseller lists and blah blah blah, and how it shouldn't just be like if you have a brain, you should get recognition for it. It shouldn't just be athletes and musicians and those types of things. And Brennan
I
and
have
Booth
a
is like, what about
feeling.
cops?
Yeah. What about cops? Brittany's trying to rush through this. I know she's got to go to bed. So
No.
we'll just say they start having this interesting thing where she's saying that he is the best agent. She's making this argument about people wanting to be the center of center of the attention and on stage and being a star. And she's like, I want to be the best. You want to be the best. You're the best sniper. You're the best agent. I wouldn't want to align myself with an agent who's less than me. So that's why I'm with you because you're the best. And he's like, oh, wow. He's kind of chuffed when she says that.
Yeah.
But then he says, I'll be honest with you. I think sometimes that you act as though you're better than me. And she's like, well, I am more intelligent.
She does
Like,
not go about it this well, but anyway.
theoretically, I'm more intelligent than you. And he's like, oh, there it is. Here we go. But then she capitulates and says, well, I know my limitations. You're better at some things. I'm better at some things. And he says, well, just so you know, I really respect the science thing that you do. And then Booth gets a phone call. Who is it?
This, I completely skipped over that. I just wrote like, oh, okay, science and accolades. But the most important part of this scene to me was the fact that Booth gets a call from Pam requesting a special individual, just the two of them meeting. Brennan absolutely is not allowed to be there. And she can be at his office in 30 minutes. Yeah, he looks like a psychopathic serial killer in this in this scene. Sorry, I'm looking.
Sorry,
yeah,
we're looking at.
We're looking at a screenshot of Zach's face in the last scene. So
okay,
yeah, Booth is like, okay, well, is this about Tommy? Because unless it's about Tommy, then why are we getting together? She's like, well, what else would it be about? Oh my God, it's so creepy.
First of all, I just want to say before we go to the next part, whoever gave this woman Booth's number should be fired.
Yeah. So apparently the way that she was able to get through to his personal cell phone is because she called the station or called the FBI and said that she was his mother trying to get in touch with him. You would think that there would be a little bit more security than that. Also,
Agreed.
I think that she's sitting in her car outside the Royal Diner.
100%. She's watching him.
Watching him from a distance, adding more pictures to that photo album.
She's so creepy.
It is so creepy. It's
really
smart.
Creepy.
He meets her at the FBI at least. Like, not that I feel like if he met her anywhere else, then maybe she could get the jump on him. I don't know if she would, but it just seemed like a good idea. Anyway, so once he gets off the phone, Brennan's like, well, why can't I come? And he calls her a well-adjusted woman. And then she continues to talk about her accomplishments, being a best-selling author. She won some other award, blah, blah, blah. Anyway. Oh, yeah.
So
I
Ruth meets up with Pam at the FBI. She walks in. She's so grateful to see him. He's like, "What's the thing? What's the information you want to give me? What's going on about Tommy's murder?" She ends up giving him a little gift bag with socks in it because she noticed that he likes to wear colorful socks. He's like, "Okay, this is weird. Like, I don't, thanks, I guess." And then
oh my
she knows
God.
she's looking around the office. "Oh, you like hockey? Oh, I have that picture in my office too." I was like, "No, you don't." A, B. Then she notices Parker's picture on
Oh my
behind,
God.
and she's like, "Oh, is that your nephew? Is that your son? Oh, it's your son." Like, Booth actually
Are
tells her
you
that's his
married?
son. Asks him if he's married. Asks him if he's dating Brennan. Like she's just trying to figure it out. And then she's like, "Oh, I can't wait to tell my mother that you just called me that." Like, because he says at one point he tells her to back off and that she's being really inappropriate and calls her ma'am. He says, "Ma'am, this is inappropriate." And she's like, "Ha ha ha. I'm going to tell my mother that you just called me ma'am. That's so cute." Anyway, this woman is crazy. I was worried about the Parker thing. I was like, "Oh shit."
I thought the
This is
same
the
thing.
second time that Parker's picture has gotten Booth in trouble. Remember
Yeah,
when he got
maybe
kidnapped?
yes, maybe he just doesn't keep a picture of Parker in his office, even though
Like,
he loves
maybe
him a
don't
lot.
leave your picture of your kid there. Exactly.
Or meet psychopaths in the interrogation room
I don't know
or a
what he
meeting
was
room.
thinking. I don't know what he was thinking, but I just think like she's a psycho. Like she's
Yeah,
crazy.
this is
Wow.
not good thinking
Wow.
on his part, in my
No,
opinion.
no. Because he starts to
Oh,
freak out. Like Booth, you
oh
can tell.
yeah.
He's like, at one point, he's like, "Okay, this is
Yeah.
weird. This is weird."
Clearly you don't have information on Tommy. Please
No,
leave.
no, no.
And then they go to now we end up in Brennan's office, and Brennan and Sweets are watching this video of Tommy Sauer, our victim, on his from his MySpace page. So he's singing
Mhm.
some song, and Booth comes in, and they're wondering how things are going, and he tells them a little bit about how things went, and Brennan is laughing about it, and Booth and Sweets are like, "Oh, this is not funny. Like him giving her socks is like, or her giving
We're
him
giving him
socks
songs,
is
yeah.
like,
Mhm.
this is very, very, very bad." Then they notice, Sweets notices, they're having this side conversation. Sweets notices that on the MySpace recording, which was a recording of our victim singing at this karaoke bar, it zooms over to a guy who the guy that you were talking about with the guitar that was giving Booth a hard time for talking, Booth and Brennan a hard time for talking.
Mhm.
He was giving cut eye to Tommy for talking to the girl that was sitting with him,
Mhm.
or for not talking, for looking at her some way in the video. And so they were like, "Oh, we got to talk to this guy because this is someone who is very angry." Sweet's explanation, yes, Kelly.
Before you get there, though, while they're watching Tommy's video and they determine that Tommy's a try hard and he'll be a one hit wonder, he would have been a one hit wonder because he has no heart. Brendan tells them that she used to love to sing when she was younger and she loved Cyndi Lauper and loved Girls Just Want to Have Fun. And her mother always told her that she sounds even better than Cyndi Lauper, which Sweets says, "Oh, that's nice of your mother to do that."
Yeah, she
Brendan's
was
like,
just
"No,
being nice.
I was a good singer." Sweet's like, "Okay, sure. I'm sure you were." And
She
Booth
was just
goes,
being affectionate.
"Yeah." Sweet's like, "No, you're just being affectionate." Or she was just being affectionate with you. And Brendan's like, "No, she wasn't. I was a good singer." And then Booth, at this point, he's had to separate them because they're already having this nature versus nurture argument and all this crap again. And then there's a couple things that happen here. Because first, Sweets and Brendan get separated by Booth. And then Sweets goes, "Don't worry about it, Booth. We're just having a friendly, collegial debate." And then Brendan's reaction to this is like, yeah, sure we are. Like, she's like had to rethink like, her position on all these arguments they have, right? And then Booth also in this moment challenges Brennan to sing. He says, sing then. I want you to sing. Alto to tune right now, sing.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I need the right environment. I need the right circumstances. I can't just sing like that. That's crazy. And then that's when Sweets notices the video. You're right. And then,
Yes.
yeah.
I did. I jumped ahead a little bit. The other thing that
No,
I
it's
jumped.
funny.
No, it's hilarious. And there's also, while they're watching this, there's on the bottom of the screen is a debut CD, I Can't Do Better Than You, which is coming soon. And so they're like, oh shit, Pam would have read into that like, oh, this is some other woman. I'm so jealous of this situation. So yeah, we're gonna go and
So,
talk to Mr.
well, Tommy was flirting with
Get
this
out of my
woman.
way.
Yeah, so
Yes.
Tommy's flirting with this woman, and then Tweets describes the man in the background, how he has like all these physical sort of body language indicators that say that he wants this Tommy guy to get the fuck out of his way. And
Yeah.
while he's describing his face, like furrowed brow, clenched jaw, Booth sitting there like furrowing his brow, clenching his jaw, pursing his lips, and he's like imitating everything that and Sweets is saying. Anyways, Booth is so funny in that scene.
This after once we got past him, like
Yeah.
creepily looking on that girl at the gym, then he was fine after that. Thank goodness. Okay. Where are we at? We're back at the lab. Back at the lab?
Yes, back at the lab.
Oh boy. Okay, so we're back at the lab. And now Brennan, based on the conversation, based on this realization that maybe this angry looking dude could have been the killer. Maybe it wasn't one of the people that we've talked about before. This guy, he played guitar. Could the guitar string have been the murder weapon? Let's figure it out. So she has the whole team together. She cuts through a block of cheese and she's like, yep, okay, the guitar string definitely could have been the weapon. And Booth is like, oh, because it cut the cheese. And they are laughing. Like they are stifling their laughter, trying to all hold it in, laughing together, which seemed very genuine. It seemed like the actors themselves. I wonder if this was kind of like an ad lib.
I don't know, but it was so funny.
It was so funny. So now Zach and Hodgins are gonna act out what they think happened in this scenario. Zach is obviously going to be the victim because he's always the victim, and Hodgins is going to be the killer, who they think is the killer, the guitar player. So he brings him. So Zach ends up in front of Hodgins with his back to Hodgins' front. He pulls the wire behind him. The guitar string gets pulled tight. He slices his throat. He loses consciousness, falls forward, smashes his chin. And yes, this has to have been it. So they feel pretty confident about this.
None of this is necessary. I'm just going to say this whole scene is superfluous. Well, not just that, the whole reenactment crap. It's like they were really filling. There's a couple scenes in here like where they're really filling the time a little bit. I don't know, maybe it's the end of the season. It's a short season. They don't have as much money. They're just making shit up just to get by. But I just thought it was like, we've all seen Goodfellas. We know what garroting is. It's like everybody knows this already. We don't need to reenact it. But I did notice Zach's knee pads under his pants when he fell to the floor. I was like, oh, he's wearing knee pads.
Oh, I did not notice that. I'm going to look it up now.
Well, the actor has to wear something. He fell right on his knees.
Okay. I'm looking it up right now. I found this isn't just another example, though, of how Zach is acting a little different.
Yeah.
Because in the past, he never really moaned or groaned about being the victim or playing the victim.
Yeah.
But in this scene, he's like, oh, I'm always the victim. Like, oh, why are you doing this to me? I can't wait to see the knee pads. I'm looking
this
up.
It's very brief. It's only a second, but it's definitely, I could see them underneath the pants. But I mean, that's just, he had to wear knee pads. He fell onto his knees, so.
Yeah. Yeah. They don't want any WSIB claims.
Whatever those are.
So where are we? We're going to
Oh
go and
yeah.
we find out that the
Let's
guitar
talk to
guy,
somebody here.
his name was Dax.
Yeah.
And so they're talking to Dax, and it becomes very clear very quickly that this guy is not our murderer. That he
That's
was
right.
just
So it
not a
turns
fan of
out,
Tommy.
no, he didn't like Tommy. Nobody likes this Tommy dude. He was
No.
a jerk. Apparently, he really doesn't like him because Dax introduced Tommy to Dr. Jason from the gym because Dr. J was looking for trainers. And then Dr. J wanted to go into business with Tommy, or they were going to go into business together, and they borrowed 50 grand. And then Tommy stole that money to produce his own CD, which is very underhanded. So they left Dax. I don't know where they go when they leave them in the interrogation room. Do they say, oh, you're free to leave? How does this work? Because they left Pam in there, they've left Dax in there. Anyway, whatever. So then
You're free to go.
you're
Go
free to
and take
go. So
pictures from the
then,
street.
so then Booth puts out a bolo for Dr. J because he's got to get him into the FBI as soon as possible. And then the next scene is another scene where I feel it was unnecessary, but they needed to fill the time because they go back at the lab and Brennan is harassing Hodgins to hurry up and get her the particulate results from the C5 shaving that he took from Zach a little while ago. And she's standing there talking to Hodgins, gets a call on her phone, and she's got to leave right away, but then yells back at Hodgins that she wants the result as soon as possible. Okay.
Saw the knee pads.
Next. Oh, good. Next, what do we have? We have Dr. J in the interrogation room. What
Dr.
happens
J's
here?
He's in the interrogation room. This guy seems very genuine, seems like someone who just had his life ruined by some asshole. Because it turns out, as you mentioned already, that Tommy had stolen $50,000 from him that they were supposed to use toward this gym. And so he basically decided, you know what, I'm not married, I don't have any kids, I don't really have any family attachments. I'm just gonna disappear. That was his plan. So that's why they actually found him traveling extremely far away in Ohio, trying to make another life for himself because he has this huge debt that he's not going to be able to repay to the bank. So he's trying to avoid them. So he talks all about that. They're still pushing back at him and they're like, okay, well, do you use any wires in your practice, either as a chiropractor or at the gym? Basically saying like, did you have the murder weapon? And fortunately, because he is like, you know what, I'm not going to answer any other questions without a lawyer, but Hodgins barges in because like Kelly
I love
said,
this so much.
like you pointed out,
Yes.
when she left, when Brennan left, she's like, okay, I need those results. Like whenever you have them, just come and get me.
Yeah.
So he barges into this interrogation room and is like, I
Booth
have the
is
evidence.
so mad.
Oh,
He
so mad.
busts into the room. Okay, I got the particulates. And Hodgins completely ignores Booth. It's so funny. Booth is so mad that Hodgins is here. And he's totally telling Brennan, he's like, oh, these particulates, the elements that make up this specific clay, which Dr. J identifies right away because he gives the elements, and then Booth's like, what's that? And then Dr. J goes, oh, that's clay. And then
Obviously.
right away, Hodgins like, yeah, that's right. You're right. So, and then Dr. J goes, oh, I don't work with clay at all. And then Hodge goes, don't worry about it. You'll be cleared. You'll be let go.
Yeah.
No problem. And Booth's like, wait a minute. No, you can't say that. We don't know that. He's so mad at him. And then Hodgins goes to sit on the table to keep talking to Brennan. And then, of course, Booth hates this. And he quickly lifts up Hodgins so he doesn't sit down on the table. Anyway, so they find
and then
out
Hodgins
that this
gets his pen and starts waving it around.
He starts waving around and pointing it. He goes, guess what? Would you believe the clay with these particulates, blah, 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 this specific clay was sent to who?
Our neighbor friend.
The neighbor.
Matthews.
He sent to Tommy's neighbor, the sculpture artist.
Which is insane to me because he reported him missing.
Crazy.
He's the one who reported him missing. So yeah, so now we're back at his apartment, and they have a warrant to search his place. They immediately find this clay cutting wire that's consistent with what they believe that the murder weapon would have been. And he is like, just look at it. There's no blood on it, obviously. Because I guess he thought he was a genius. And she's like, actually, I'm gonna quickly just swab this thing with this special liquid. And if it turns blue, then yeah, you're the killer. And sure enough, it turns blue. And he's like, oh, you don't understand. He was such an asshole. All he did was sing all day at the top of his lungs, day and night. I just needed some sleep. Why would he do this to me? I never thought I could kill him. I mean, he's so much bigger than me and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, but then at the end, he's like, but when he died, it was finally
It
quiet.
was so quiet.
But then,
Question. I don't know, man. Like, because, okay, fine. He confesses immediately to garroting his neighbor. That's insane.
oh yeah,
Like,
literally
you have to
insane.
be, like, how?
You'd
That's
have to be
crazy.
nuts.
But
And
you also
also-
have to be strong. And how sharp
Yes.
is that shit?
He also disposed of the body
This is my question.
and then reported him missing.
How did he get the body from the back alley to that field?
No idea. Because he was pretty little.
And I don't know, artists like that probably didn't have a car.
True. He took the body on the bus. It's fine.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, my friend's drunk. It's fine.
Half his head's falling off.
Half his head is gone. Yeah, oh no, he's fine. Don't worry. He's just I'm trying to get him home safely. Anyway.
All right, girl. Are you ready for this?
So I'm not.
Can't touch.
Boop,
Doop, doop, doop.
Okay. So we have one psycho in jail. Done.
Done.
Step 2.
Yes.
Let's go to the Checker Box restaurant with all of our staff. Angela's there, Cam's there, Zach, Hodgins, Booth, Sweets. Brennan walks in, happens to be the last one to walk in. And
Yep.
Booth is like, guess what? This is the environment you need. Are you going to sing Cyndi Lauper? Yeah. Girls just want to have fun. So he is very excited for this. She's like, okay. And Sweets is going to be singing Lime into Coconut after her, which is very funny because that becomes like his signature song later in this
Really?
series. Yeah.
Really? Oh my
Yeah.
God. I thought it was going to be
So-
Chumbawamba or something.
No, no, that would be, he did mention, was it in this scene or someone mentioned
No, when
Chumbawamba?
they were watching the video of Tommy
Yes.
singing, he was talking about one hit wonders and he was talking about Chumbawamba's, what is it? Hot tubbing or what's it called?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Da, da, da.
tub
Check
thumping.
it and
Tub,
see.
tub thumping.
Tub thumping. I'm thinking of the wrong song.
Are we going to
Anyway,
sing it?
okay.
Let's go.
So she's like, okay, if you insist, this is obviously the perfect environment for her. She rips off her jacket. She gets right on stage. Immediately. We're going to hear tub thumping for a second.
Did you not hear that?
No,
You can't hear it?
it's like it kind of like it's breaking up.
No way. Really?
Weird.
Oh, that makes me sad. That means my sound is bad. I'm sorry. Okay, too bad.
No.
I get knocked down and I get up
I
again.
get up again. Never
And
gonna
it'll
keep me
get
down.
me down. I get
Down.
knocked down. Anyway, so
Okay.
Brennan is gonna sing.
She starts. She starts
She's
to
starting.
sing,
She's starting.
and it's going well because she's from a family of singers.
Yep.
her sister Zoe Deschanel is like on another level, phenomenal singer. So Pam walks in and she's like, "Look at me, not her. Seely,
Because can we just say,
Seely."
all right, but right before this happens, she's freaking out because Booth is having the time of his life
Oh yeah.
watching Brennan sing Girls Just Want to Have Fun by Cyndi Lauper. Brennan is having a great time jumping around the stage.
Oh yeah.
Booth is
Everyone
clapping.
is.
He's smiling. He's having a good time. And Pam does not like this. She's yelling.
No.
She wants him to look at her and not Brennan.
Because she sees what we all see, that Booth is in love with Brennan.
Okay.
Okay, carry on. So then she pulls her gun out and starts saying, "Seely, Seely." And then he looks around and she's like, "I'm doing this for us." And aims the gun at Brennan,
Mhm.
shoots the gun. Booth immediately jumps in front of the bullet, gets a bullet in his right breast, which
Yes.
cannot be a good place to be shot.
No.
And Hodgins yells, "Someone call 911" to Zach. They're
Mhm.
all freaking out.
Yes.
Brennan is desperate to get him to stay with him, get him to stay with her. And is like, "It's okay, Booth. It's okay. Come on. You're going to be okay. You're going to be okay." Very like talking him through it. And all we see at the end of this episode is it's like we're seeing from
No,
his
you forgot the
perspective.
part where then Pam aims her gun at Brennan.
Oh, that's very
Because
important.
Brennan is over
Yes.
Booth, like trying to get him to like stay conscious.
Yes.
Pam sees what she's done, but then she sees Brennan is still alive, so aims her gun again. Brennan then grabs Booth's gun and shoots Pam right in the neck.
In the neck.
He
It's like such an
collapses.
intense, like she definitely is dead, like right in the trachea.
I don't know. Really?
It seems like she's dead, but maybe she'll be back. We never
Never know.
Yeah, Booth, we start to see the camera. After that happens, we see the camera from his perspective, like we're looking through his eyes, and it fades to black as he's looking up at Brennan. Yeah, it's a very intense scene.
Yes.
This is the episode immediately prior to the last episode of the season, so it's very interesting to me because there was no mention whatsoever of Gormagon in this episode.
No.
Even though that's supposed to be like our overarching storyline for this season.
Where's Gorgonzola?
Where is Gorgonzola? That cheese. Who knows?
That was cheddar. That was cheddar for sure.
So yeah, so we're kind of in this weird spot to me, although there was a writer strike, so we'll see what happens. But we're in this weird spot to me because we have this huge cliffhanger.
Yeah.
This show has had 12 seasons. We know he's alive somehow.
No one's going to die from a gunshot wound to the right.
I don't think so.
No, he didn't even hit a lung.
But that's like that's a major shot though.
Of
or
course.
Major injury going into the very last episode of the season, which I'm assuming would be something to do with Gormagon. So this is very interesting how this is going to go.
It's very traumatizing, but it's mostly about that end shot of him staring at Brennan, and she's the last person he sees before he goes unconscious.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's quite a cliffhanger. I mean, I'm assuming he'll be fine. This guy's been blown up, for God's sake. Like he'll be fine.
Yeah.
But it's still like major trauma to the body. So we'll see. We'll see.
And PTSD for Brennan as well.
Never mind.
This
yeah.
poor girl.
Shit. It's poor people have gone through enough. So what'd you think? I mean, we talked about how funny it is, and the writing is sharp, sharp, sharp.
Oh yeah, the writing is good. The acting is great.
Yeah.
I'm a Slave for You is great.
Yes.
Still going back to that. I liked it a lot. How about you?
Oh yeah, me too. Again, acting, the writing is so sharp. There was so much good little things in here. It was hard to talk about all of it because there's so much. It's dense. Yeah. It was dense with like witticisms and really funny like the rapport that they're setting up between Sweets and Brendan and Booth, I think that Booth and Sweets actually will probably be more aligned because they
Yes.
seem to have the same kind of philosophy. I know that Brendan has this. I'm getting a bit tired of this nature versus nurture argument they're having.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping eventually she'll ease up
I
and
think it
maybe get
does.
some psychological help herself. That would be helpful.
Yes.
Angela could have stayed home the whole time. Zach is crazy. Pam is just the best. I love her still.
Pam is
And
great.
Pam
is nuts.
I'm gonna say well, let's just go forward. Who's your king of the lab this week?
Okay, I need you to clarify though. Is it based on acting chops or based on the character themselves?
Anything you want. It doesn't, there's no limits. There's no restrictions.
Because normally I pick it based on like the character itself.
Yeah.
And my rat this week is based on the character himself.
Yes.
But I think Pam is the queen of the lab because her acting is so on point.
I'm with you.
This episode,
I'm with
like,
you.
oh my God, this bitch is
Pam
crazy.
Was amazing. And it wasn't just, it was her. She was so creepy and so her voice was so, there's something about her voice, very calm, sultry.
Yes. Which made it even creepier.
That made it even creepier because she was so manipulative. Like she played this character. This actress is amazing. I love her. She is the queen. She's the queen. She's the king of the lab.
My close second though was Sweets because he was warning them the whole time that she was dangerous. Yeah. And no one was taking him seriously.
We can call him the prince.
He's the prince. Prince Sweets.
Prince Sweets. Who was your King Pam?
Who was your
Who's the rat? Who's the rat?
Oh, I have mine.
I've got to I didn't think about this. This is all very in the moment right now. I didn't premeditate anything. But our victim, I'm going to say our victim.
Yes, we're on the same page today.
Tommy Sour left a sour taste in my mouth.
Stole $50,000 from this guy who was just trying to help him.
You should give it to me. I have to pay my debts.
My God. Seriously. Put it in a good place, not to produce some album that will get nowhere.
Exactly.
Stole money, was called poor Pam, who, yes, was a psycho, but called her fat Pam. I'm sure that did not help the situation.
Oh my God. It's terrible.
Was awful to his neighbor. Like, shut up and stop singing all the time. Just let your neighbor be in peace and quiet for just once in a while. He was just not good.
No, I agree. So we're on the same page. So Pam is our king and Tommy's our lab rat.
Done.
Awesome. That's great. Well, next week, baby, we got ourselves a season finale.
Holy shit.
I am so curious about what's going to happen because of all the things you've told me that we're not going to talk about right now, specifically having to do with a specific character that we're observing. Yes. I don't know how this wraps up because I know what happens in season 4 anyway, I'm very curious. I don't know how they're going to do it. But I'm very happy that the writing was so good in this episode. I thought the writing was fantastic. And the directing was fun. And everybody was on point. Even though Angela had absolutely nothing to do, I really, really enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to the finale. It's going to be fantastic.
It's going to be great.
Who knows how they're going to profess their love for each other, this time around.
Come on, Booth and Brennan.
I don't think it happens for another couple seasons, right?
Oh, God.
Anyway, don't tell me. Anyway, I just want to thank everybody for listening. I hope you enjoyed our double drop this week. I really appreciate everyone's patience waiting for the holidays to sort of dissipate out of our minds and 2023 kind of disappear and be in the rearview mirror. Now we're heading straight for almost in February now, which is insane.
I don't
So
know where
again,
this
thanks
is going.
for, I know, right? Thanks again for listening, and check us out on Instagram. Send us an email. You want to send us, only accolades. I don't want to hear your complaints because guess what, guys? This is free. We do this out of the kindness of our hearts. Think about it before you hit send, okay? And what else was I going to say? I think that's it. I want to thank you too, Brittany, for being here and being available and doing this with me. It's been really fun.
Thank you, Kelly, as well. It's been a blast. I I hope we get more laughs next week, although I think the episode's a little bit more serious, so
Oh yeah, but you never know. We've had some good laughs. Remember the one where friggin' Booth's boss's kid died?
oh my god. And we were dying because Angela was like, "Here, I made you this VR system.
Here, I'm a VR thing of the Louvre. Anyway,
Go
on
through
that
the
note,
Louvre."
thank you for listening to this episode of Squintcast.
Squintcast.
See you next time. Bye. Thank you for listening to Squintcast with me, Kelly Booth, and your new friend, Brittany Elsner. The Bones theme is performed by The Crystal Method. They can be found on Instagram and YouTube at The Crystal Method and at thecrystalmethod.com. Intro and outro music is by Twisterium at Pixabay. Cover art was done by Irena Dolenc-Stajan. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok at Squintcast. Email us at squintcastpodcast@gmail.com. You can find me at fab_empire_ on Instagram and TikTok. Brittany is at Brittany81523 on Instagram. See you next time.
Hodgins!